This is the headlight bucket. I've already painted it, and you can actually see my reflection in it. And this was a grizzled headlight bucket. I've already preloaded it with the fuses, so that's the correct distribution panel as well down below. This is like a little pre-wire ground that was existing. I've checked all these fuses, they're good. I've checked all the connections, they are good. A couple things I want to point out, that you really need to check out these fuse panels, because these fuse panels, they really are kind of like garbage. I don't like them at all. I'm doing this because this is what came with the bike. But the first two, these two are connected. So if you plug into here, you're providing power to both of these. This one, the third one, is connected to the next five. It's connected to the top five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I think these two are independent. So it is, we're going to install the headlight bucket. I'm going to put bolts through the side temporarily to hold it on, but I have stems that I'm going to be installing that are stand by. Okay, I have headlight stems that I'm going to be installing, and I'm just not going to install them yet because I'm just going to keep them out of the way. And I am going to wire this. So here's how it's going to look. These are going to get bolted in on either side, the turn signals. I'm just not going to do it yet. I'm going to do it at the end. And this bike did not originally come with turn signals. So I'm going to do a relay solution for it. I'm going to reuse this wiring harness because it's great. It's like a brand new wiring. Here's the thing, it's a brand new wiring harness. So, and it's not a Greg Bender wiring harness. So I don't know who made this wiring harness, but it's a professionally made wiring harness. So I'm going to wire up with this wiring harness because, yes, color coded. And I'm going to wire up everything as it should be. I'm going to install turn signals, and I am going to so the breather box we need to install, and we're going to do the wiring. So stay tuned. Okay, welcome back. We are going to, I guess, start working on, I gotta tighten that up first. We're gonna actually work on a little bit on the wiring harness. And like I said, the wiring harness is it's professionally made. I'm gonna reuse the one that we have. And I am going to, I will show, well, that's interesting. I'm going to show, well, we will, I'm going to use the actual wiring diagrams. So once we get to the wiring diagram portion, I will get there. So let us start. And the first thing I'm going to do is, and I just know for certain that this is the ground. So the ground is getting attached to the center. So we're going to attach that. And again, I'm using these flange serrated nuts too, so it will lock on once it's tightened, and we will have a very good ground. And it is okay. So we're good there. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of like strap this wiring harness where it needs to go. So, and I'm going to wire tie it. So in looking through the wiring harness, it is obviously this is going toward the front of the bike, and it is these two. First of all, these type of plugs are called bullet connectors. So I am fairly certain that the bullet connectors are going toward the headlight bucket, and I bolted on the headlight bucket. And so I know that they're going there. And I'm assuming that this is going to the ground, and we're going to check that out. So let me get my, we're going to check the wires as we go. So I have a multimeter, and so I'm going to use the multimeter for kind of everything. So the first is I'm going to check this one wire that I said probably goes to ground. And so that's not it. That is not it. So here is another wire. Let's see if this is the one that went to ground. That is not it either. So here is our third wire. So the third wire is not it. So let me unravel this. So it's going in this case. It is one of these three wires. So it is not that one. It is not that one. Do we have a break in this wire? It's not that one. It is not that one. It is this one. So I don't understand why we are not getting. Do not know why it's not. There must be a break. No, just wasn't getting a connect. Okay, so I know that that goes in the headlight bucket, and this, I'm assuming it goes to the horn. So it's either going to the horn or the brake. It's going to the brake. So that is the brake wire. So let's start. Let me tie it up. And as we go along, we'll attach as we go along. So generally speaking, I'm going to wire strap it on the left-hand side of the bike. So let me throw a couple wire straps up. Once it's tied up, and again, you can do this as temporary. I tend to put on a lot of wire straps, especially in the beginning, because it's easy to cut them off and put new ones on. But it keeps all the wires out of the way. And I obviously don't have the dash panel up there yet. I'll have it up there shortly. And so again, I'm just tying this to get it so that it lays on the top of the frame. I don't want it, or on the side of the frame. I don't want it laying all over the engine. It makes it nice and neat and orderly if you just start wire tying it up. And so obviously with this type of connector here, you know that this most likely is going toward the generator, which it actually is. I just know it is. And the color coding, I know this is going to the generator as well. I'm sorry. This blue, it is. I just know for a fact it is going to the coil, because the black and blue goes to the coil. And in fact, there's one black and blue wire here where the terminal came off. It's still on the coil. And this is I need to figure out what that black one is for. There is a boot here, and it's a brown boot, and I know for certain that this brown boot is going to go, and it has a special type of plug on it. So it has a female bullet terminal. I just happen to know that that female bullet terminal attaches to the oil sending unit right here. Okay, I'm generally going to feed through the headlight bucket and through the triple tree. There are some wires that go up through the triple tree and some that go through the headlight bucket. So you can see I have the headlight bucket tilted up, and there are 3 holes. There's a hole down here, and then there are 2 right here. I need to put in some rubber grommets. I'm out of rubber grommets. I'm going to pick some up at the store tonight. I actually have a rubber grommet here. I think the speedometer cable goes through here, but there are not that many wires to go through here, so I'm going to get a couple grommets to fit up through here. That does not prevent me from running the wires up through, because I'm going to run the wires up through, and I can just put the grommet on. We're not going to actually make the physical connection, but if we do make the physical connection, it actually is not that troublesome. So I am, and I just know offhand what some of the color coding is and where it goes. So it is, so I'm feeding, there on the dash there are a couple indicator lights. So the indicator lights are for oil pressure, generator to see whether it's charging or not, whether or not your high beam is on or the lights are on, and the second the next is neutral. So neutral oil, generator, neutral oil generator, neutral oil generator, and high beam lights. So I know that this is going through this triple tree. Also, the key switch is going through this triple tree. So there is a power going in. So We have power that's going to be coming in through the, there's going to be a power line coming in through the battery, and most likely it's this wire right here. It's the biggest wire. So this is going to connect to the the on switch. We have, this is probably to the generator, I'm guessing, but it's the red wire. This most likely is going to the, this is for the oil light. So this is for the generator light, the oil light. The green is for the neutral light. And the other only light we would need is, we need a light to go to the, whether or not the lights are on. So that would not necessarily be on that harness. We also are going to have a wire coming in for the starter switch. So we're going to be putting a starter switch, a starter button over here. And so the starter line is going to run down the handlebars. It'll go through the headlight bucket, and it is and it will go to the key switch up here. So it's going to pick up power there. So let me think about that. I normally don't wire these like that. So the yeah, it is yes, it is. It's going to pick up power up here, and then it's going to go to the starter relay. So that is going to provide the power. So when the power gets sent to the starter relay, that will be the voltage, and that'll be the control voltage going to the starter relay. It's going to all kind of make sense because you have two different positives, two different 12 volts going to the starter relay. One is the control voltage, one is the power voltage. So the starter button is going to get wired. Generally speaking, it goes through the headlight bucket. So it's going to go through the headlight bucket, and it will pick up power at the it's going to pick up power in the dash, and then it's going to go back down, and the power is going to go to the you know what, let me think about that start button, because I normally don't do the start button like this. So I'm going to do it like the wiring diagram says. So it is so I'm very confident that these go up here, and the next wires are, this is so we have these two black wires that are right here. One is black, and one is blue and black. I know for certain that these go to the these are going to go to the coil. So there's like the wrong plug on here for the coil. I know that, but me just ohming it out, the blue and black basically is power to the coil. So let's check this line right here. And so I'm just going to stick my probe in here, and then I'm going to touch the wire going to the okay. So yeah, that's going to go to the coil, and this black one I believe is the ground one. I thought we determined that. That's why these wires, sometimes they look the same. You really need to check every single wire. That is not that black wire. So let me see what that black wire is. Well, that black wire, I mean, it's, let's see. Okay, it's this black wire in here. And yeah, that is going into the that is going into the headlight bucket as well. Yeah, it has to, because the yellow wire here, the yellow wire is for the tail light. Tail light, and yeah, this is wired kind of differently. So we're going to see how this thing gets wired. Oh, I'm sorry. This brown wire is the starter. So this is, and then there's another loop that goes from the headlight bucket to the starter switch. So surprisingly, there is a, they use a, one of the wires that goes to the starter switch, I think, is black and blue as well. So this goes through the headlight bucket as well. And this is the, so we're going to put these through the headlight bucket, and we will put the grommets in around them. And so I'm going to get on the other side. Okay, so the way things work, I just put it in the headlight bucket. The way things work is that main power is going to come up to the dash, because the dash, that key, well, the ignition switch controls the power going to the fuse panel, which it seems kind of quirky that there would not be a fuse between the ignition switch and the battery, but there's not. So, and that, once you turn the key switch on, it's going to turn power to the accessories. That'll be one click. And then there's going to be main power. And then even if you were to continue turning it, the key switch has the ability to actually act as a starter switch too. We're not going to use that. We're going to use the push button switch. So I'm not positive that all of these things go through the headlight bucket like this, because it is, I think that they're close. So it looks like we have, some additional wiring here, and I'm not positive what this wiring is for. It's got different colors. It's got pink and white. And then it's got orange connecting blue. So it is, I'm not positive on that. And what we're going to do is we're going to go with what we got here. And that should keep us occupied, to be honest. And once we get all of this installed, then we will actually install the headlights. The tail light is going to work, and the brake light will work, but we're going to hook the headlight, high beam and low beam, the tuned turn signals, left and right, and the starter switch, we're going to hook those into a relay box. It makes things incredibly safer. So we're going to do that. And so let's see. It is so it looks like we are getting close to starting, and we are going to get a wiring diagram going, and it is so stay tuned. I will I think initially I'm going to just so that we can actually get the bike cranked over. It would be nice to crank this thing over and listen to it for a second. I think I may wire everything. I think I may wire the original starter switch. And this battery is slightly, I'm sorry, this starter is slightly different in that it requires a ground as well. So I may wire up that starter switch. I may wire this thing originally like it is, except for the headlights, because I don't have the headlight switch. But I'm going to hook it up so that we can actually start the bike with the key switch and everything. And the headlight, even the horn, the headlight, the horn, the turn signals are going to be on relays. And here is the clutch lever. We got great action on the clutch. So it is so we're going to actually go from there. So obviously this is just the base wiring harness. But yeah, let's get the base wiring harness set up. It's why go crazy? And I will okay. Stand by. I want to get the dash ready, and I want to get the starter switch ready. Obviously, we have to have a starter cable. Here is another wiring harness, and this is an interesting looking wiring harness because it is I don't know what the black and white could be for power going to the dash. This red could be a jumper going from the dash to the headlight bucket, and the brown could be a jumper for the starter. So I don't know what that one's for. You see, here is the here's like the harness for the tail light and the brake light. So I know that because yellow is for the tail light, black is for the yellow's for the tail light, black is for the stoplight. So I know that's good, and it should be long enough. I think it's long enough. If it's not, we'll just splice it together. I don't mind doing that. So it is. And I'm not necessarily seeing there's like a little harness that goes up for the starter switch. So I guess I'm just not seeing that offhand. But that's not a problem. We'll fix that. We can rectify that. And okay, so stand by. Let me get some stuff tidied up, and we will be back.